So in my last video, I talked about the pain body, but more I thought about it, I thought it'll be good to put a personal application into the understanding of the pain body. And one of the things about a pain body is that it loves drama. Most relationships go through these periods of um, pleasure and pain. There's attachment, and then there's suffering. So with most people that they have periods where they go out, they have a good time, uh, you know, they're enjoying one another's company, and then something happens. It could be a small thing. It could be something as simple as not filling the gas tank. It could be something as simple as um, not cleaning up after yourself after you made breakfast. And whatever it is, it triggers something in one or both of the people involved in the relationship. And it escalates into a situation where maybe they're not speaking to one another. Maybe they're not communicating honestly. Maybe they're holding in uh, negative emotions towards one another. Maybe they're allowing their negative emotions to boil over and come out. But that's the period of drama and and toxicity in a relationship, and that's how most relationships go. You have these periods of peace and happiness, and then you have the other side of that, which is the drama, the negativity, the toxicity, and the conflict. In fact, uh, Buddhism teaches us that attachment and suffering are just two different sides of the same coin. Grasping uh, is the coin. You could think of grasping as the coin. And the sides of the coin are attachment and suffering. So if you have attachment, you will have suffering. Uh, and then we learn through the teachings of Eckhart Tolle, through the teachings, ancient teachings of Buddhism, that love has no opposite. So true love is pure, and you don't go through those cycles of uh, peace and then conflict with true love. In Christianity, it might be referred to as agape love, or the type of love that God has for his children. But with attachment is the clinging, where the grasping for someone else, where we want them to make us happy. We want them to fulfill us. And it is precisely this desire, this uh, grasping, that creates the suffering. So, in relationships, in reference to the pain body, when a desire, and I'm going to switch angles because the sun is starting to come in. When desires are not fulfilled, when expectations are not met, uh, and again, it could be small things, um, then emotions are triggered, and emotions start to arise. And when you feel those emotions starting to brew inside of you, those are the stirrings of the pain body. Okay. He's trying to wake up. He wants to use you. He wants to become you. He wants to act through you and speak through you. He wants you to completely identify with him. So in my relationship with my wife, with my coworkers, with my kids, with anybody I put myself around, what happens is you become sensitive to other people's pain bodies. As you practice awareness, as you practice, uh, I'm going to use the word mindfulness. Eckhart Tolle, he doesn't use that word. He says because it implies that your mind is full. Um, but mindfulness, you could say awareness, you could say presence. It's about knowing what you are thinking, knowing the thoughts that are going on in the background of your mind. When you're cognizant of that, the more you practice being cognizant of that, the less the pain body will sneak up on you and take advantage of you and catch you off guard. And the more you practice that presence, what happens is you become aware of other people's pain bodies being triggered in your presence. And so in my relationships, when I recognize my own pain body becoming active, then I'll disengage from that. You don't try to suppress it. You don't judge it. You just stay aware. Okay, this is what's happening. My pain body is waking up and my pain body is irritated. You have this awareness about it and you don't identify with it. You just recognize, hey, irritation is arising. Frustration is arising. And you observe it as the presence, as the stillness. And it'll subside as long as you're observing it. And I've been practicing that. When I have, in my relationship with my wife, for example, we've been married 20 years. And we've had a lot of time to become familiar with each other's triggers. And if you've been married for any length of time, 5 years or more, then you're going to have a really good idea of what pushes your partner's buttons. And they should have a pretty good idea of what pushes your buttons. But here's the practical application that I'm getting to is when you sense in your partner or in yourself the pain body arising, waking up, those feelings of irritation or frustration or anger arising, that's when you know it's time to do something different. Whether that's stopping the conversation, say, hey, listen, I want us to keep the peace between the two of us. So I'm going to go for a walk. Or I feel like we need to stop having this conversation for right now. And that's what I do. We'll stop the conversation, allow those pain bodies the opportunity to go back to sleep. And when they go back to sleep, when they go back dormant, if we really need to address what we were talking about, then we can go back to it. But 9 times out of 10, what you'll find is what you were actually talking about, what was stirring up the conflict and the pain body, was something that you didn't really need to discuss anyway. It was insignificant. So the practical application to the teaching of the power of now is to become aware of when the pain body is stirring, when it's awakening, and when you're becoming less conscious. Disengage, stop, look within, observe, and make a different choice. Because we become so consumed with our patterns, our pattern, the same pattern. We fight. It's toxic. It's negative. There's a bad energy, and our kids see it. The people around us can feel it. And then we make up, and then we go through this cycle over and over again. And so, as the presence behind the thoughts and feelings, the practical application is let's stop, let's look and observe. Don't try to suppress it, but we don't identify with it either. And then we disengage. And if necessary, we'll come back to it at a later time. And 9 times out of 10, you'll find that you don't even have to go back to that conversation that was stirring everything up. And that's what I've been doing in my relationship with my wife, with my kids, even with coworkers. Um, and it works. And so that's what I wanted to share with y'all today.